Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Dave TV for the 17th of 11, the 17th of November, 2012. How you doing, everybody? Yes, just another morning with my Washington Post, my good old-fashioned Washington Post. Notice this, lots of big pictures. There's the Post main news section, big picture, okay? Then you go to the style section, big picture. Then you go to the Metro section, big picture. Then you go to the sports section, big picture. And then you go to the real estate section, big picture. Yeah, lots of big. I guess they what people want. You know, they do survey and survey and survey of this paper's reader, diminishing the cadre of readers, and everybody says, first thing we want more big pictures. We like our big pictures in the Post. Interesting thing in at least the A section. A section is probably about the only Post section still worth the money. I'll tell you that. Okay, maybe the sports section, but you know, Metro's getting and style is definitely down the toilet. But the A section still is pretty good. However, I'd like you to see this. Can you see that? Whoops. Where is it there? Right there. It's a correction. You can see these are the corrections. These are the corrections. And then at the very bottom, I shall read my radio voice. An article in the November 8th A section that was part of a breakdown of voting in battleground states incorrectly said that Virginia's delegation to the House of Representatives has 2 Democrats. The correct number is 3. You notice a week or two ago, right after the election, a week and a half ago, I pointed that out. I said there was an error in one of their election coverage stories, and at least they corrected it. They should have said, as pointed out by DCRTV Dave, but they didn't. I'm still waiting on that correction regarding the Paul Farey piece a while back on political campaign spending, in which he referred to Channel 4 as an affiliate of NBC, and Channel 5 is an affiliate of Fox. They're not affiliates, they're their own stations. How can you affiliate with a network that already owns your stupid station, dummy? Anyhow, you know, style section today, man, look at this. Ballet, big article on ballet. And then another article on dance. I don't know, man. Ballet, dance, doesn't interest me. I don't know. Something's wrong with that section. Okay, so now I have to say, I've always been a big Obama fan. Like Obama, glad he got reelected, and I like most of what he's doing. Okay, not everything, but most of it. I have to say, I have never been a big fan of the FCC, Federal Communications Commission. I don't particularly like Julia. Oh, I got crap on my beard. Look, I just had a new Kellogg's breakfast sandwich. Really very good with pepper jack cheese. That's in my beard. But anyhow, don't much care for Julius Genachowski. Don't much care for those FCC commissioners. I think they don't side with consumers on many issues. They side with the big companies, the big media companies, and they're a bunch of dingbats. And just saw in one of the trade journals how the FCC is changing one of its rules. Currently, the FCC has a rule whereby cable systems must keep their basic channels, meaning local broadcast and public access channels, unscrambled or unencrypted. Meaning that if you have a cable subscription, you're paying a cable company, you can take that cable and plug it directly into a digital TV with no box, no converter box, and at least get your local channels. Okay, channel 4, 5, 7, 9, whatever. You have the sub-channels and some of the public access channels. That's it. You know, just those channels that basically you'd get with an antenna, but it's basically a reliable antenna. Because, you know, you put up an antenna today with this digital TV and you can't get half the stations. If you live in an apartment or something, you can't put an antenna on the roof, whatever. So at least that's a lifeline-ish kind of service. The FCC now says that come the end of this month, cable systems can encrypt those signals, so you will have to get a digital box. You will be required to get a digital box in order to watch even your local broadcast channels on cable. Okay? I don't like that. I think that's just another way, you know, It's another way of the cable company charging you money because now you have to rent the box. You know, they're going to charge you a fee for that box. They can now monitor what you're watching, you know, and all that other stuff. I just think that's not a really good idea. So if you have that extra television in the bedroom, or you just plug it into the cable just for the local channels, or for example, you're just getting your cable service for internet, but you know you get the local basic service just so that you get the lower price on the internet. You know, like cable companies want to charge you a higher price if you only get the internet. Blah blah blah. Mainly all it means is free TV is harder to come by, and big cable companies will be getting more of your money. That's all it means to the consumer. Okay, and I don't know, man. The FCC stinks, and I think that's, you know, maybe most people are going to say, oh, who cares? You know, I need the box anyhow because I like to watch A&E and Storage Wars and stuff like that, which are, yeah, all those channels are already encrypted. But, you know, it's another small step down the road to someday when basically there will be no broadcast television, there will be no free TV for anybody, and everything will cost you. You know, anytime you turn on that TV set, the meter will be running for everything. You know, I remember back when I was a kid, in the old days, we had a TV set and a little antenna, and you got, you know, 6 or 7 channels. You got a couple, 3 or 4 3 network channels, PBS, and a couple indies, and it was all free. Everything was free. You know, you didn't have a cable bill, and you know what? Honestly, we got along fine. You know, we got along fine with 6 or 7 channels. There were better channels, and, you know, I honestly remember finding more to watch on those 6 and 7 free channels than I find on the 200, 300 plus channels you get with cable TV, I'll tell you. But anyhow, the consumer-friendly thing. Obama, you know, get rid of that Janichowski. Put some really good consumer-friendly guy in there at the FCC in your second term. FCC is a joke. It's funny because most of the trade pub guys I see here, everybody thinks the FCC is a joke. It's a joke. It's you know, and Janichowski probably goes on vacations to they probably Comcast pays for his vacations to Jamaica or something. Who knows? So anyhow, another thing I'm going to do on the weekends, started it a couple weeks ago and I forgot about it. Go through the DCRTV stack of stuff. I have a huge stack of stuff in my den there. And it just sits there. So I figure, why not show it to you guys? So let's go through another inch or so of the stack of stuff which I pulled out, okay? So let's take a look at it. Here we go. WNAV brochure, your hometown station since 1949. Huh. Okay, CBS Radio News, the Sajak Broadcasting Corporation. Of course, Pat Sajak fame of Wheel of Fortune. And there they are. There's their coverage area. There they go. Can't get it. I can barely hear them here. If I, in the car radio, turn on 1430, I can sometimes hear them out here in Restone, Virginia. Here's a interesting thing. A letter for, remember WCPT 7:30 a.m. Back for about 10 minutes there, they carried CNN radio. And a letter for, remember this? WJZW, Smooth Jazz 105.9. That was a cool station there for many, many years. Al Santos, a lot of cool people worked there. And they were right off the air. What was that, about 2009? CBS, or it was Citadel, pulled the plug on them, or ABC, or whoever the hell was doing them then. Here we go. Look at this. The jocks from WWDC 1260. Johnny Holiday, Ed Graham, Ross Elliott, Lou, L-E-W Cats. Of course, he's officially changed his name to Lou, L-O-O. And Fred Fisk. There we go. Wow. Look at Lou Katz with the hair and the beard. He's definitely a bit more conservative looking now that he's gracing the hallways and byways of WASH. Here we go. Bumper sticker, WPIK, WXRA. Remember the country kingpins there on the AM dial, the FM dial, whatever. Remember this? 024/7. Remember Weasel there at WHFS after HFS bit the dust there in 2005? He went over to work for this 024/7 web radio. Or was that earlier? Yeah, somewhere around there. Somewhere in the mid-2000s he worked there. Interesting. Got some old Washington Post magazines. Larry King, What Makes Larry Talk? This is from... gosh, I don't see a date on this. Boy, Joe, they don't have a date on that. January 13th, 1991. And also got Doug Track, the Greaseman, and the cover of Washington Post magazine. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Greaseman. What is Grease doing these days? Anybody know? I don't know. This is from 1987. Wow. I'll just show you some of these pictures. Nice. Look at this. There he is. Wow. I'm almost a trained schizo. Even Doug Tract, his alter ego, seems to realize that sometimes the Greaseman cometh on too strong. Remember, this was back in the days when he worked at WARW and he got canned. Remember, he made a joke. There was some thing where some guy in Texas got dragged by a truck and he made some kind of a joke about it. Yeah, look at that. There he is. Mr. Muscle's there. What's Grease doing these days? I know he was working down in Jacksonville for a while on a classic rocker. Haven't heard much from him lately. There he is in DC 101 days. Yeah, wow, look at him. Oh, there he is with his boat and his beautiful, is that his wife? His wife, Anita. Well, very cool. So there we go. Okay, we're running out of time here. What else? What else? Okay, we'll call it a day for that. Okay, one more thing, right? City Paper, 2003, best of DCRTV.com. That's the Baltimore City Paper. You know, that's the last time they gave me that award. And you know what? I've been the best source of media news in Baltimore every damn year since then. They tend to give their awards to that Zuradick guy, who's a total nincompoop. Anyhow, that's Dave TV for this sunny Saturday, 17th of November, 2012, as we're getting ready to head into Turkey Day week. And don't forget, please help my website. It's a couple of bucks, okay? Man. A couple of bucks, and everything will be groovy. Just click on the PayPal link. Click on the support link at the top of DCRTV. You can send me a couple bucks PayPal or a check. Anyway, again, we depend on your donations. We got a nice, we're looking for a couple more $1,000 for our fall period here to help keep the site going. You know what? Either site will keep going. Even if I go broke, it'll keep going, but it won't be updated quite as frequently. I'll even do it from jail. If they give me an internet connection and I'm in jail, I'll do it from there. Thanks for watching Dave TV. That's about all to say. Hugs and kisses.